Hey, welcome to Satisfied Personal Finance. Today I'm going to talk about my years in an IFA, trying to be an ethical financial advisor, and how much money I earned, as well as my thoughts and what lessons I learned from that era. Last week I shared about how much money I bring in as a tutor, and there are a few people who seem to suggest that I was evading taxes. First of all, those are not very large amounts of earnings. Secondly, I get my earnings through a company who pays me a salary, so it's very difficult for me to evade taxes even if I really wanted to. Which I do not, I never evade tax. So today I'm going to show you how much I earn as an IFA focused 100% on ethics. And spoiler alert, it's not a lot. So a direct contrast of my last week video, some people said I was flexing. Now I'm showing you the very bad years of my life. And I think my definition of ethical is quite extreme. It means 100% client first. Meaning to say if there's something that is cheaper outside, even I don't earn a single dollar of commission, I would refer my client there instead. I guess that's probably why my business model was destined to fail. And this is my tax return for the year 2011, and I earned less than $10,400, which is a pathetic amount, not even $1,000 per month. So if you have watched my previous video on my experience being an insurance agent, you will know that about half a year into the job, I actually earned $10,000+ for a single month. And you contrast this to 2011, where I decided to be ethical, and then I earned less in the entire year compared to 1 month of being an insurance agent selling savings plans, ILP, etc. To me, actually, I felt quite hopeful because even though I wasn't earning a lot, I felt so much better ethically and my conscience never felt better, and I was really doing a good job for my clients, and that meant that my commissions were really low because good products, low commission, good commission, bad products. That's just the nature of life. And anyone that tells you otherwise, I would like to see this magical product that can give high commission and is so super good for the client. Towards the end of the first year, because of the low amount of commissions I brought in, I actually considered taking on a full-time administrative role somewhere, a clerical position, and then during the weekends and my spare time, I can continue offering financial advice and earning low commission but still focusing on ethical advice, but I can still sustain on my day job salary. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out, and it was also around that time where my ex actually broke up with me. Now, I cannot say that money was the number one concern, but I have to say that it was a major concern. I think that it's quite natural if your partner isn't doing very well financially in his career, you feel like you don't want to be with that person. Amongst other issues, okay, I don't blame my ex for everything, but I think I can pinpoint that one of the reasons why was my low income at that time. So it's one of the sacrifices I made focusing on ethical advice. So in 2012, I popped myself into work and I earned $22,383, which is more than double of the year before. So it seems like it was on the uptrend. But if you really go and average it out, it's actually still less than $2,000 per month, which is very, very difficult to sustain on in Singapore. Now, I'm quite a frugal person, so actually $1,800 over dollars is more than enough for me to sustain my very frugal lifestyle. But that also means that I can forget about things like moving out, getting my own place, etc. So I think by then I was getting a bit discouraged by the amount of money I was earning. It was nowhere near what would make a good living in Singapore. And I think also about this time, because of the breakup as well as the low earnings, I fell into a depression. And this is not self-diagnosed, this was actually medically diagnosed by a psychiatrist. And for the longest time, I felt that I was too depressed to work. And I remember I would spend my days in bed sleeping because I just did not want to wake up. And every now and then, I would still drag myself out of bed and I was still functioning. I could still see some clients and close some deals. So I could still survive on a $1,000+ per month salary. For 2013, I don't have the figures. I think by then I already gave up saving the tax returns because they were negligible. There was no tax to be paid. And I was just so discouraged over earning so little. You can see my 2014 one, it was also less than $1,000 per month. So it was a really quite sad period of my life. I remember there was a trip to Japan and my friends all went, and I was the only one in the entire group who didn't go because I did not have the budget for it and I just wanted to save some money. But last minute, there were actually some great deals, and I had a friend who offered to pay part of the accommodation costs. So I actually went there to surprise my friends, and I think one of them weren't exactly happy to see me because I heard through another friend that actually he was worried that because I was there, they had to scale back the activities to cater to my budget, etc. I was quite hurt when I heard that, but I think it's quite natural, when we go on holiday, we just want to have a good time. We don't really want to cater to the lowest common denominator of budgets and then have to scale back our holiday activities. But it was still very hurtful. Water under the bridge now, I think I'm in a much better place. Unfortunately, I think it's very difficult to divorce a person's income from his self-worth. I think it's not the most healthy of ways to measure someone, but it is a fact of life in capitalist societies like Singapore particularly. So that was a pretty dark period of my life, I must say. I was really quite unhappy as a result of earning very little. So after years of trying to help people with their finances and earning a very low amount of commission because of it, I felt very disillusioned with the industry. And of course, I tried many different business models. Okay, I tried to charge fees, but people were not really willing to pay even $100 to $200 of upfront fees. Instead, they were more than happy to buy all kinds of lousy policies and incur thousands of dollars in commissions that were hidden from them. So I thought, I better get my life in order, find something else. What's the point of helping people who are earning more than me and then I earn 1,000 plus a month? It just didn't feel good at all. And I don't think it was for the lack of trying. I actually spent more than 4 years of my life trying to be an ethical advisor and make a reasonable amount of salary. Unfortunately, I really felt like that wasn't possible, and so I left. And as you know from my previous video, I joined the tuition industry and I am more than happy being in it till now. And my site and YouTube is where I continue to give advice free of charge, but people reward me by signing up for things through my website, and I actually earn more money now than I did when I was a practitioner trying to focus on ethical advice. Because of the content I publish, there are people who are considering joining the industry or already joined for some time and they feel the ethical conundrum that I did, and they'll come and ask me for advice. And really, my advice to people who want to be an ethical financial advisor is don't do it at all. I feel like it's really an uphill task that's very thankless, because when I was doing ethical advice, I met all kinds of nasty customers who would take my advice and then transact it through their friends, which I felt was really a slap in the face, because their friends can recommend them ILP and then they come to me for a second opinion. I gave them the proper advice and they bought the same product from their friend. Extremely demotivational and very hurtful, and I took each and every one of those cases to heart. Maybe I shouldn't, maybe that's just human nature, but it's just a very thankless job. I don't know why anyone wants to be an ethical advisor in this field. Now, it's not to say that I think 100% of people in the industry are unethical, but I would say it's close to 99.8%. Right? The people who really offer good advice, I feel like I can count with the fingers on one hand. It's not that I'm overly critical, but I think my barometer for ethical is quite high. It is an extremely uphill task and no good deed goes unpunished. Let's say you want to focus on things that are useful for your client, let's say insurance like term policies. The government has implemented Compare First, which sells term plans directly from the insurance companies to consumers at a cheaper rate. So how are you going to compete with that? Are you going to direct people to Compare First and then not earn a single commission? And then if you charge them fees, they refuse to pay because they feel like advice should be free, because every other insurance agent offers their advice for free. So how are you going to be an ethical advisor in this industry? Well, of course, I think there are some people who manage to crack the code and then they are able to have a sustainable lifestyle offering ethical advice, but I really think that it's very, very few. Most of the time, if you want to survive selling things like term, hospitalization policies and low-cost investments, you have to find volume, large numbers of people, and I don't really know how anyone can start out and then do that. Most of the time, people who get volumes of businesses are people who are able to afford telemarketers, afford high costs of marketing. Someone who sells term isn't going to cut it. Or you could be very hardworking, you can do cold calling, you can advertise yourself online, you can do YouTube, spend hours and hours finding prospects, and then realize that there will be people who will buy online because cheaper, there will be people who will buy from their friends. Then when people finally buy from you, you realize the commissions are only a few $100s. And trust me, with the low commissions you earn being an ethical advisor, you'll burn out sooner rather than later, because altruism can only get you so far. And then you realize that this business model is really destined to fail. New entrants would probably have their ethics guided and shaped by their mentor, and I'm going to say that most people in the industry are just very commission driven, regardless of what lip service they would pay to ethics and clients first. I really am very disillusioned in the industry. I don't really want to elaborate much, it becomes ranting. Just be careful when you engage someone, be it tied agent or IFA. Even those who are not commission driven, they may not be competent enough to offer you competent advice and end up selling whatever their mentor trains them to sell. And I've really seen financial portfolios of people who were sold things by their boyfriends or girlfriends, and they are really pretty crappy. And I don't think that the girlfriends or boyfriends meant bad for their partners. It's just that this was the way they were trained to sell, and they thought that was really the best option, and they really sell it to their partners. So it is really not an ethical thing. I think sometimes it's also about competence, and unfortunately this industry is sorely lacking because competence in financial advisory is not rewarded. Competence in sales is the thing that's being rewarded. Okay, I guess I'm ranting again, but anyway, to keep it short, I guess what I'm doing now is I'm trying to approach financial advisory from a whole different angle. Clearly not the first, right? There are a lot of financial bloggers and YouTubers, but I think in my channel I'll set forth to give good advice so that people who bother to research can then go and action on their own financial plans without being misled by their agents. So at least you meet your advisors for execution only, or you go to online portals and you transact online. And I think your finances will be much better than if you just trust your agent blindly, regardless if they are friend or loved ones. I think even if they are ethical and mean you no harm, the competence might be an issue. And the only payment you ever need to give is a like on my video. A comment is even better. And if you feel like it, go ahead and sign up for some useful stuff through my website, and I'll earn some fees through there. I think that we are hopefully entering a post-financial advisor world where people actually just go online, research, listen to YouTube videos, and then form an informed decision on what to buy, and then do it online without going through a commissioned agent that has a lot of incentive to recommend all the wrong products. Or at least I hope that's the future we are headed towards, because I really feel that it is a fool's game to rely on financial advisors. After making the video on how to find a good financial advisor, I actually thought about it, and the best financial advisor is yourself. So this video, a lot of grandmother story. I don't know whether it's helpful or useful to you. Let me know in the comments below whether you enjoyed this or it was just a whole lot of bull crap and you'd rather just listen to something more constructive, like what's the best credit card, what's the best insurance policies, which I have done, so go and check that out. If you like my content, please subscribe to my Telegram, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you next video. If you really think that you're in the industry, you're ethical, I really like to hear from you. Sound off in the comments below. Hit me up in my inbox if you are too shy to say it publicly. I would really love to hear from people who feel that they are surviving well and they are really truly ethical in their dealings with their clients.